Using an AI agent has completely changed the way I code. And don't get me wrong, I love it. I think it's really helped me in a lot of ways. But before I learned how to use it alongside coding, it was actually kind of killing my learning. In my situation, I had been put into a new team. I was working on completely new code bases, and we had just got company access to use GitHub Copilot. And I was using it to just get general overviews of code bases. They had new frameworks. It was helping me learn new frameworks. I was kind of leaning on it way too much. And from the face of it, it looked like I was really picking up this new work really fast. But when I kind of stopped and thought about the work that I'd produced, could I really explain it? Did I really understand what I had done fully? Probably not. But once I realized that and figured it out, I changed the way I used it to help me, and then I noticed that my growth skyrocketed. This isn't a video about prompt engineering or anything specific like that. It's more of an overview of how you can use the tool to help you rather than kind of take over your learning. So typically, and also the way I started is once I had access to it, I would just ask it a question. It would probably write what I asked it. I want a function to do this. All right, done. And that feels really good because you've got lots of work done really quickly. But the problem starts when you can't actually read what you've done because you don't actually understand anything. And it gets even worse when it doesn't work and you can't figure out why. And this is a really easy trap to fall into because suddenly you have all this power at your fingertips and you want to use it. And of course, the problem isn't AI itself, it's how you're using it, because it is a tool and tools can be misused. And let's be honest, when we're using it too much, our brain isn't working and really you're not problem solving anything and you're not growing. You're not actually thinking of the steps of the logic and kind of thinking it all out. It can definitely make you lazy and feel like you're learning really fast. But learning anything fast means you're not learning. I actually have a whole video on how fast learning is actually slowing you down because you're not actually taking in anything, even if it feels like it. What's actually some practical things you can do to make sure you are not killing your learning? Here's what worked for me. Let's say you're assigned a ticket and you have to write an endpoint to get all the customers that love eggs. What I would do if I was working on something and I had my Copilot open, first I would think about the requirements of this ticket. What is this endpoint doing? Do I need to think about authorization? What database am I interacting with? I would think of all of those steps before even considering using AI. And then I would have a look around. If I'm familiar with this code base, great. If I'm not, where are the endpoints listed? Where are all the routes files? Where are the controllers, etc.? And then if I'm failing to understand the flow of this code base myself, I can then think about asking AI, actually, can you explain to me how the flow of this works? And it will just teach you something without doing your work for you. And then once you want to actually start working, I would try and write bits and pieces yourself. And if you're really struggling, I would even write pseudocode. So just write some comments. Here's where I need to do this. Here's where I need to somehow get all the customers and filter it by their favorite food, which is egg. And that way you've actually done kind of the problem solving, but you actually just don't know and you're struggling with the actual detail and the lower level code. So at this point, we have maybe asked AI something, but nothing directly related to actually doing your work. And of course, I would say that if you don't know how to write an endpoint, you should probably have some kind of level of learning that you're not going to ask AI to write it all. But if you're just struggling with syntax and stuff, then I think you probably can use AI and kind of take it step by step and say, how can I write a route? I mean, usually if you're working on something existing, you can see plenty of examples of it. But it's great for getting things done faster. If you know how to do it by looking at it, and you can just tell Copilot, just add a route in for this. As long as you're understanding it, you're fine. And when it does actually write code and inserts it, make sure you double check everything and that makes logical sense to you. And if you're going through it step by step like this, you'll end up with something, and once you try and test it and it doesn't work, because you've taken the time to understand it at each stage, you'll probably be able to debug it fine. It's also really good for just talking to, because it's, there's a term called rubber ducking, and it's basically if you speak out your problems to something or someone, and you can use the agent for this, you might gain some clarity yourself without it actually, telling you, and then you feel really good because you're the one that figured it out. And for me, doing all this definitely didn't hinder my learning progress then, especially because I'm near the beginning of my career and I've used it to, gain a better understanding of things, even if I've written something that I'm familiar with, but when I think about it deeper, I'm like, actually, what is this part of this function actually doing? I can ask it, and then I come out feeling even clearer about code that even I've written. So just remember, AI is a tool. It's not a replacement for you. And especially if you're closer to the beginning and you're new and you're still learning a lot of kind of basic things, don't rely on it too heavily. Just use it to ask questions but not do your work for you. Let me know what you think of this, and also whether in your experience you've had the same thing where you've had to take a step back because you feel like AI is taking over, or even if you have any great suggestions for people to try in how to use AI as a tool rather than, a replacement. But other than that, I'll see you next time.